Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. And as you can see, today we are going to discuss about the plant kingdom. Okay, so we all know that the plant kingdom is basically divided into 5 types. Okay, so the first one is the algae, the second one is the bryophytes, okay, the third one is the pteridophytes, the fourth one is the gymnosperm, and the last one is the angiosperms. Okay, so I will repeat it again. The plant kingdom, student, it is divided into 5 types. Okay, the first one is the algae, the second one is the bryophyte, the third is the pteridophyte, the fourth is the gymnosperm, and the last one is the angiosperm. So today we are going to discuss about the algae. Okay, the topic for the video today is the algae. So let's start the topic. So algae, the algae is known as simple chlorophyll bearing. Okay, so we have all seen the algae, right? The green colored ones. So they are the simple chlorophyll bearing, and since they wear the chlorophyll, students, so can you tell me the mode of their food production? So as they contain the chlorophyll, they are autotrophic. Okay, so they can synthesize their own food. So the organism that synthesize their own food are known as autotrophic. So algae, since it has the chlorophyll, they are autotrophic organism. Okay, and where we can see the algae, where we can find it, we can find it in the aquatic environment or the moist areas. So okay, it is found mainly in the aquatic environment. Okay, so now we will try to understand the characteristics of the algae in terms of 4 features. Okay, so the first one is we will going to discuss is the habitat. Okay, this is the first one we are going to discuss. The second we are going to discuss is the structure. The third we are going to discuss is about their nutrition, mode of nutrition. So student, this is very important, you have to know this. Okay, so these questions are often asked in the examination for 1 or 2 number. Okay, and the last one we are going to discuss is about their reproduction. Okay, so now let's start with the habitat first. So the habitat, as we already told you, it is found in the aquatic habitat. Okay, so it can be found in the fresh water also. Okay, and it can also be found in the marine environments. Okay, so the fresh water does not contain the salts, whereas the marine water contains the salts. However, it can be found in both the environment. Okay, and it is easily observed on surface of the moist stone. Okay, so where it is observed? It is observed on the moist surface of stone, soil and wood. Got it? And there are some exceptions also, like algae, they can grow in the extreme environmental conditions also. So what are the extreme environmental condition? Like in the snow. So in the snow it is there will be very less temperature. Okay, very low temperature, so there also the algae can thrive. So but however, the color of those algae, it will give some color to the snow also. So the example is the Chlamydomonas nivalis. Okay, so this Chlamydomonas nivalis, okay, so this is the binomial nomenclature. Okay, so we have to underline it. So this will give the red color to the snow also. Okay, apart from this, there are some algae that will show the symbiotic association also. Example, with fungi. The example is the lichens, and the animals is the coral reef. Okay, now quickly let's talk about the structure. So the algae, it can be unicellular. Okay, example is the Chlamydomonas only, or it can thrive as in a colony also. Okay, so it can be colonial also. So the for unicellular we can take the example of the Chlamydomonas. However, for the colonial one we can take the example of the volvox. Okay, so it will exist in the colonies. The third, it can be multicellular also, and the example for the multicellular ones are the kelps. Okay, and some algae, they will lack the true roots, stems and leaf, but these some of them has fast stripes and fronds. Okay, so they lack true roots, okay, stem and leaves. Okay, however they may possess the fronds, few of them, okay, or stripes. And the student, the body of the algae is known as thallus. Okay, so if somebody asks you what is thallus, the body of the algae is known as thallus. Now let's talk about the nutrition. I already told you that the algae, they will contain the chlorophyll, so they are autotrophic in nature. Okay, and they will store their food, synthesized food, okay, in the form of starch, oils and other polysaccharide. Okay, so the food will be stored in the form of starch, oils or polysaccharides. Okay, and if we student talk about the reproduction, then we can see the three kind of reproduction. Okay, the first one we will observe is the vegetative reproduction. So for the vegetative reproduction mode, fragmentation is occurring. Okay, and I will give you the example of one algae that will undergo the vegetative reproduction. The example is the Spirogyra. Okay, the another mode for the reproduction will be the asexual one, and the asexual mode includes the production of the spores. Okay, and zoospore, they will exhibit the asexual mode of reproduction in algae. Okay, and the last one is the sexual reproduction, and the sexual reproduction involves fusion of the gametes. Okay, and it can be isogamous, anisogamous or oogamous. Okay, so the sexual one can reproduction can be of three types. The first one will be the isogamous, the another one will be the anisogamous, and the third will be the oogamous. Okay, so the isogamous example includes Spirogyra, okay, and the Eudorina. Okay, they will exhibit the anisogamous mode of reproduction, and the oogamous, volvox, they will show it. Okay, so this is all about the characteristics of the algae, and now we are going to discuss the classification of algae. Okay, so if we talk about the classification of algae, so based on the pigmentation, okay, store food and habitat. Okay, there are three criteria. The first one is the pigmentation, store food and the habitat. So the algae, they can be classified into three main groups. The first one is the chlorophyllaceae. The second one is the Phycology. And the third one is the Rhodophyce. Okay. So before talking into the details, I will just quickly tell you the chlorophyce. Since it contains the chlorophyll, so it is the green algae. Okay. And the Phycology, it is known as brown algae. And the Rhodophyce, it is known as red algae. Okay, so basically there are three types of algae: green algae, brown algae, and the red algae. So now let's talk about one by one. So the pigment, we are going to talk about the three algae based on the pigment present, the habitat, cell wall. Student, I try to make the topic very easier for you and point wise. Okay, so you can remember it also for your exam. Store food, and we will consider the examples also. So if we talk about first about the chlorophyce, then we know that it consists of chlorophyll. Okay, so both the chlorophyll, that is A and B, are present, okay, in the chlorophyce. And if we talk about the habitat, then they are mostly freshwater. Okay, most of them occur in the freshwater conditions. And the cell wall is made up of cellulose. It is cellulosic in nature, that is, it is made up of cellulose, and the food is stored in the form of starch. And example are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Ulva, and the Spirogyra. Okay, so all these algae are the green algae. Now let's talk about the brown algae. So the brown algae pigment, they will contain the chlorophyll A. Okay, they will also have C and the fucoxanthin. Okay, fucoxanthin. So what separates the green algae and brown algae is the presence of the fucoxanthins. Okay, and if we talk about the habitat, then they are mostly predominantly marine in nature. Okay, so while the green algae are the freshwater ones, the Phycology, the brown algae, it will prefer the marine water aqua environment. Okay, and the cell wall, okay, it consists of layers, large and differentiated, with whole fast, stripes and fronds. So they will consist of fast, stripes and fronds. Okay, and the food is stored in the form of laminarin and mannitol. Okay, so if we consider the example of the brown algae, then laminaria is the brown algae, then there is fucus and sargassum. Okay, so this is all about the brown algae. Now let's quickly talk about the red algae. So the red algae, it will consist of chlorophyll A, D and phycoerythrin. So this phycoerythrin is red in color and this will impart the red color to this algae. Okay, so the brown color is because of fucoxanthin and the red is because of the phycoerythrin. Okay, and this is also marine, found in the marine environment, however they were found in a deep water. Okay, and it will store the food in the form of starch known as floridin starch. Okay, and if we have to name some rhodophyce, that is the red algae, then you can write the name of Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gelidium and the Gracilaria. And now if we talk about the economic importance of the algae, so there are 4 important role of the algae. So they are used in the agriculture. Okay, so they are also used in the food. Okay, food and food industry. It will also have the industrial uses, and all some of the species, they will also play a role in the medicine. Okay, let's quickly have a quick note on this. So the agriculture, there are certain algae like blue-green algae. So the example of the blue-green algae are the nostoc or the anemone. Okay, so they are the nitrogen fixers, students. So these blue-green algae, we know that they are the nitrogen fixers. So therefore they are used in for the agriculture purposes for improving the soil fertility. Okay, so if there will be a note that write about the economic importance of algae, so you can write easily in the 4 steps. The first one is the agriculture. I've already told you, they will, the blue-green algae, nostoc and anemone, as they are nitrogen fixer, they are used for improving the soil fertilities. Okay, then there are certain species like porphyra, okay, laminaria. These are the algae that we can use in the food also. And there is another example, that is the agar. So agar is also used in the food industries. And if we talk about the industrial use, then the alginates. Okay, alginates are obtained from the brown algae. Okay, they are used as a stabilizer in industries like ice creams and the cosmetics. Okay, so where they are used in the ice cream industries and the cosmetic industries. Okay, and why they are used? Because they will act as a stabilizers. Okay, and last, there are some species of algae that are used in the pharmaceutical. Okay, as they will have the properties like anticoagulants. Okay, they are also important source for the antibiotics and rich source of the vitamins also. So this is all about the algae. Student, in this video we have tried to understand about the characteristics of algae with example and also the classification and the importance of the algae. Thank you for watching the video and stay tuned for the next video that will cover the bryophytes. Thank you. Bye bye.